Hello, hello.
Hello, hello.
Yeah, how are you doing?
Doing pretty good. How are you?
Yeah, everything's alright. Just been doing a masterclass with some coaches for the academy. Now, ready to do the session. I'm excited to just go over your Roadhog gameplay, I believe, right?
Yeah, the
Yeah,
second one, because the first one I felt like we played. I think we played a lot better, and I feel um like we started pretty rough, but I think we got into the groove pretty fast. And that's why the second one was like down to the last I think we had overtime for almost a whole minute at the end, and it wasn't overtime. Like it was overtime on a push on Dorado, so I think that one did. It was a lot better to look at, and I think I played Roadhog the entire time on the Dorado one too.
yeah, yeah, sounds good. To be honest, there are not too many players recently submitting the votes for Roadhog, so I'm pretty excited to just give you a few things you can improve on, see what we can do better there. 100% nice. All right, so we'll look at that second replay. Maybe anything to mention, maybe any questions you want to ask before we start as well?
I will say that this one I played with I think two of my buddies, so this one was played on console.
I see you. I see you. No problem. No problem.
My
Well,
buddies, I think I had just the two. It's Gecko 52 and Top G Daddy, and then I'm Tranquil Reap
yeah,
on the
yeah,
blue team.
yeah. Perfect, perfect. What do you think, like, you struggled with in that game, if there's anything?
Um, I feel like I struggled finding out when I should try to help and peel for my supports because Gecko was often saying that we had a lot of we they kept getting harassed by the Pharaoh,
Right.
but at the same time I felt like it was also partially on the DPS because I mean we had a Bastion and a Sojourn. If they couldn't take care of a Pharaoh, it's like there's only so much more I feel like I could do with that, especially when I'm trying to, manage a Sigma to make sure he's not getting free kinetic grasp or handle a Mercy who's trying to fly up to the Pharaoh.
Makes sense. Makes sense. I would 100% agree as well. We want to be careful with focusing on the Farah way too much because usually not one of your best responsibilities. You can deal with them technically because of your hook, but there also might be some other targets you can focus on. For example, the comp given, we can maybe have even Freya, maybe even something like Mercy or Life Fever. But yeah, it all depends on situation. I think the Hog is pretty interesting tank, so let's look into that. By the way, can you see the stream just fine? Is
Mm-hmm.
it working? Nice. Okay, perfect,
It's
perfect.
all good.
And this is gold lobby, right? This gold rank.
Yes, this is gold one. I think this was my last placement on console. Like I ended up at plat 5, I think.
Nice, nice. Yeah, climbing. Nice. Great, great, great. Okay, I just want to ask for your general thought process because you mentioned there are a few things we wanted to go over. Yeah, it's been mostly positional stuff. Yeah, we kind of suggested that. Maybe there's also timing, your pressure, which is important. So I want to ask you this question. What do you think about your position in general? What's your thought process in here? What do you look to position in front of that choke? Is there anything specific you're looking for in general? Stuff like that.
So my original plan, since I have an Alari, is I wanted to try and play that doorway a little bit because I know there's a health pack in there,
Oh, yeah.
and I wanted to attempt to play that doorway. But when I saw he put the turret right above me, I wanted to back and play that corner instead, so I could make sure I had the heals from his turret. Because on top of the turret giving me almost, I wouldn't say identical heals, but almost just enough heals as the health pack would be doing, it's also building his ultimate. And I think it was a pretty good decision made when the round starts and the Sigma walks out. It gives me a little bit more room to deal with the Sigma as well.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I see that. Kind of just fighting for this area where most of your team they can give you support. I think that's right. Yeah, let's keep watching.
I think that would have been that Sigma probably would have died there if our Bastion hadn't started late because I don't know if you saw it, but
Yeah, I
when
saw
I
that.
pulled the Sigma, Bastion wasn't even in the fight yet.
Yeah,
He was all the
yours
way
and
around the
slightly
corner.
late too, to be honest with you. Yeah, it's just ideally want you to when you find the time to position on one of the stop high grounds, but it's fine. That happens. Yeah, just slightly late. Well, happens. That's okay. Yeah, let's keep watching. We're gonna be looking at a few fights. I think let's just find out the biggest pattern you can improve on. Obviously, there might be dozens of things we can be thinking about, but let's just start with the basic ones. First off, yeah, let's watch a little bit more. Okay, so trying to deny the Farah. That's okay. Farah's dead, actually. And that's been pretty decent trap to Fios. Get us value in general. And able to win the fight. Yeah, you should be okay. You should be okay in general.
Another thing I'm pretty keen on about Roadhog is if they're playing someone with a barrier like Sigma or
Yes.
Reinhardt, I'm very keen on just trying to burst down that shield as fast as possible.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
Because with Sigma, like especially with Sigma, when you break that barrier, it forces him to have to either back away or try to use that kinetic grasp. And if he uses that kinetic grasp, it's usually easier for me to just hook him and get my team to help me finish him off.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Okay. Yeah, I agree. I think maybe you can try to just burst the barriers out. Also, try to find a way, maybe challenge yourself and find the way through the barrier if it's possible. Because a lot of times the barrier is stopping you to get the value itself from the hook. But maybe if you're also able to just
Walk
get
through it.
around, yeah, exactly, walk through, or maybe get an additional angle, I think this is great typically. But yeah, so one of the things I notice, and I think just based on our conversation before, it's going to be really important to fix, and just with the way we play those two fights, it's going to be pretty important. It's just making sure you have the resources for the right space. Yeah, we just keep it simple. We want to have most of your resources for the time when most of your team is active. Okay, because the main job of the tank, well, actually, what's the main job of the tank? What do you think?
Creating space and
Yep.
making sure that you can keep your team alive
Yeah,
while at while for taking damage and allowing your supports time to heal everyone if needed.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think really big emphasis on if we're trying to create space right now, thinking about that, well, in what area your team needs you to create space. Okay, it seems like we're kind of fighting this, let's call it red area. There was also might be this area yellow, let's say this corner here. There's also area blue, maybe another area here as well. What do you think? Or is that an area where it's needed for your team to actively create space for them?
My team needs more blue because as like currently that Farah is walking through the building and she's going to be all in my backline and I will be way too far to hook her or to accurately peel for my teammates who are currently Sojourn is about 3/4 health. Bastion is one rocket from Farah away from
Right,
death.
right.
And I don't know if Alari is looking at me and healing me or if she's turned around looking at Bastion.
Yeah, yeah, maybe. Yeah, I would definitely say, well, maybe you can help us far, maybe not, but at least just look into perspective of what is that area we're looking to get value in, and we just keep it as simple as my team is active, and you can be active as well based on that, and you just need to specify the area. Oh, yeah. Any question?
My thought process here was that their team is pretty low.
Hmm.
Like not I wouldn't say like they're struggling because I mean I'm currently in
Hmm.
a full team versus me,
Yeah, that's true.
but I'm contesting the payloads that they don't take this corner, and
Hmm.
that's what the biggest thing was for me is to make sure that they don't take the choke corner,
Yeah.
and especially like if I think like the fifth clip plays like
Mhm.
2 more seconds, the Sigma gets life gripped, which allows me to have even more space.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. That's true. I I
And
I,
I
li-
played
I
the
like it.
payload for cover
Yeah,
too.
yeah. I like the way you pressure. Yeah, you just kind of constantly trying to make sure you push the back in a way. What I have the problem with though, yeah, because we kind of mentioned that when our team is active, you want to be active. What activity is about? It's just being basic with it's for any tank, the resources. I want to make sure I have my tank cooldowns, whatever the cooldowns available for the space where most of my team is active. Because the job of your team is to control space with you, where you take in space and more absorbing pressure. Of course, there's a potential for you to get kills, but mostly we just want to make sure we preserve most of the resources for the right areas. So you kind of mentioned, well, it seems like my team, they like to control blue space more, which I would agree. Yeah, maybe yellow as well in a way. Yeah, this yellow turn is where we're trying to stop the corner. That's why I kind of marked it differently. I think you're right, you gotta do that, but just the way we do so, you see how many resources we spend to just contributing to this red area. And because we do that, maybe we do not have some of our resources for the yellow or for the blue. This is what my concern is. Yeah, because if we watch you, and there are a few things you can be improving on, it's just when I'm trying to approach the space, you see, for example, here we don't have our trap and most of our HP is gone, for example, where your team, they maybe not as confident in fighting that space. That's what I want to be careful about. I think most of the time,
because right there,
just kind of
because
serious.
as
Yeah.
well as right there, when my Alari, she's using most of her heal beam, her turret is down. Because I mean, that's another thing is that Alari isn't. I wouldn't say it was a bad choice for this, but as well as like it's a tough pick because it's really easy for a Sigma or Farah to get rid of
Yeah.
that turret,
Yeah.
and so the downtime on the turret was a little rough there. But I
Yeah.
think
Mhm.
what happened, I played around that payload because I wanted to see if I could reach in as well and like
Mhm.
pull a support. Like if I could pull Mercy away,
Yeah.
then that significantly would decrease Farah, Freya, and
Yeah.
Sigma.
Yeah. Exactly.
And
Yeah. Mhm.
and I felt like even though I didn't have like really good resources because I think this one I threw my trap off of cooldown
Mhm.
into this corner right here in front of me.
Yeah.
I think it was the better play because I used the cover from the payload to try and maintain my life, and my team is also coming back from spawn. I think we still had Zenyatta and we still had Bastion, and so no one's changed on the team yet. But I know that Zenyatta was coming back from
Mhm.
spawn, and that I do know that the Zenyatta player was not very good because he's one of my buddies we play with. He's notorious not being that good of a player,
That's okay.
but I do know that Zenyatta being able to like kind of mark someone for me to hook, it makes it a lot easier to hook someone and insta kill, especially a squishier target.
Yeah, of course, of course, of course. Yeah, it's just I like. Of course, there's still something to improve with them. Just how do we use cover and such. But yeah, overall, the good thought process. Yeah, trying to stop the payload. However, yep. I just want to ask you the question: when it's gonna be more valuable for you to look to actively use your cooldowns? Is that when we contributing to the threat space now, or wait for the enemy to do something towards yellow and blue, and then look to use the resources? What do you think?
I think it would be better to wait until yellow or blue because, well, it's kind of in the name of the game. I'm on defense right now. I should
Yeah.
be trying to keep them out of the zone instead of trying to push into
Yeah.
theirs.
Exactly.
And you know, it's easier to go after a support or two rather than to try and push a whole team back into their spawn.
Yeah, exactly. And I would, to be honest, say it doesn't matter defense or attack. Always trying to find ways to exactly establish the pressure in the area where most of your team is doing something. Yeah, so for us specifically, what do we need to figure out is where do we fight? Yeah, what is the area based on my team's activity? I'm watching where most of them are active. Okay, and let's try to put the pressure in there. Basic as that. We trying to maybe look for the hooks. We're trying to look for the damage because there is high chance, and I think it can be done. Maybe you're looking for early hooks, but it just might be really difficult to when you get to the situation when most of your team is active and you don't have your cooldowns, then it's going to be difficult for everybody to control space. I think it's kind of usually, especially with the hog, you maybe have the time to look for the hooks before the fight starts, but just now when the fight is about to start, when most of my teammates are active, it becomes maybe more difficult. And see, you in reality maybe also have more freedom on what to do later on, but unfortunately we just kind of miss some of the cooldowns, and this might be just be difficult for you to do something,
Yeah,
and you have
I
to.
think
Yep,
a big thing there was
like this.
I had thrown my trap, and while I was throwing my trap to because I wanted to get the Sigma into the trap to have the Bastion help me burst him down, but he hit me with the rock right before I could hook him, so he ended up stunning me and taking the time instead of trying to
Mhm.
shoot me, he just broke the trap instead.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's all power shit, also small things to look at as well, and should to improve on. But see, this is exactly what I mean. When there's a big commitment which happens, they kind of go in and extend. They overextend a little bit. You can punish that pressure, and obviously keep in mind the areas where your team is gonna fight later on, so it makes it easy for you to survive and such. Yeah, I think we trying to do a great job there, just sort of surviving, but it's fine. Well, now have to reset, see how we taking the next fight here. Okay, now, there's a lot of pressure from Farah, that's fine. Well, now again, the same stuff. You need to figure out where my teammate's about to pressure and make sure you're able to time accordingly. Okay, there's always going to be two parts, I think. It's going to be your timing and, let's just say, positioning. Yeah, position wise. Now let's look. Yeah, so it seems like based on this, yeah, I'll just kind of go back a little bit. Based on where your team is positioned now, what do you think is the area you're gonna fight for? What do you feel
We're
like?
probably gonna fight for that bottom corner
Yeah, bottom corner.
where Sojourn's out right now
Yeah, yeah.
because they've already hit the checkpoint, so that door is just gonna open up, and that's where we're gonna end up in the next fight at.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And again, just making sure they make a commitment in that area. Most likely, we're expecting them to get it to second half of this red. Yeah, let's mark it. Maybe it was yellow, and then later on, you kind of keep everybody trapped. Yeah, maybe you just pull them in inside that space. Yeah, really good. You also maybe try to extend them a little bit more, even, which is great. The point of the hook, we kind of pull them in our zone where our team is active. Yeah, make sure we increasing the chances of this is happening by making sure they make more commitment.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the way I kind of described Roadhog to one of my buddies because we were playing. I was playing. I've been playing a lot more Winston, like you told me to,
oh yeah,
and I found out Winston's really good against people who like to play Reinhardt. Because he
oh yeah,
just jumped behind his team and he turns around trying to help, and then my team just shoots the Reinhardt in the back. At
yeah,
least in my level, because you know sometimes they're not that smart.
of
And
course,
I found out like there was I'm friends to the Reinhardt team where he just wouldn't let me do that.
yeah,
And so I
yeah,
ended up playing Roadhog against him because I was like, I don't got nothing else to do. And so basically what I did is I called it a reverse dive to where instead of me diving the enemy team, I brought my team to or them to my team by just
exactly. Hmm.
pulling a support or squishy DPS to my team and just knocking them all down.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think you're right, and obviously we'll be also curious to look at the other matchups. Yeah, like even other characters the way you play as well. Yeah, I think that's fine. Yeah, it's definitely important to. Let's see how the fight goes. So I like the way you kind of lean towards the cover, right? The thing I wanna say though, okay, if we just kind of keep watching what you're trying to do, a lot of time on the map is you have the general cover you're using later on. Maybe there is a pressure, but what I wanted you to challenge with, and this is gonna be again highly dependent on where most of your teammates are set up. You're just gonna be choosing this position, which allows you to preserve your resources. Yeah, because there's a big emphasis on making sure you have most of the CDs for the space where your teammates are able to fight. Yeah, for example, here, it seems like we're fighting the spawn door. Okay, so what do you think? How would you place your trap, first of all? What do you think is going to be the best corner for you to play at and place the trap around?
Either the corner that's right behind me next to my Alari, or I
Yeah,
can place it right inside that doorway to my left as well.
yeah, maybe one of those. Yeah, for example, and see, because you're choosing that corner, you're reminding yourself what is that cover you're playing near, and this way you minimize your hitbox and preserve your HP. Yeah, preserve. Maybe you will not get as panic to also use your healing, which is also a
But
resource. Yep.
I would also say I think that doorway would be a lot better for the fact that one, he's farther away from my support,
Yeah.
and at the same time, but he's got more walls between him and his mercy. So
Yeah.
if I had to pull
Mhm.
him in there, and I could stand in that doorway because, well, I'm like the biggest character in the game.
Yep.
I could just stand in that doorway and prevent him from one walking out, and I can also allow either my Lari to go through the other doorway and poke at him if she wants,
Mm-hmm.
or I can have her poke at the Mercy that is going to be struggling to try and get in there to help him.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. I think a lot of your position, especially with Hog, because there's no opportunity for you to shield, is definitely a lot of times trying to absorb the enemy attention in a way so you make them chase you, and because you make them chase you and kind of diverting the attention, you don't have strong defensive capabilities but strong offensive capabilities. Then because of that, your team is surviving a little bit more. Yeah, let's say I'm being really annoying inside this doorway, or like maybe even here I'm just existing in the doorway, playing more of a sitting a more off angle option away from my core. Yeah, off angle is the position away from your core. If I'm doing that, then you can divert the attention of the enemy to that extent, so absorb so much attention, so your team is able to control stuff with you. It's just making sure we time the pressure with them correctly. Yeah, but
And I also think
Mhm.
something else that I have here as well. You probably already saw it, but I'm playing this side of the fountain, but I also have my trap on the other side of the fountain. If someone runs around the other side to try and either get off angle
Yeah,
on my support or to attempt to try and get around to push the payload.
yeah.
So if the Freya tries to get off angle on my Alari, the trap is there and it can trigger. And while she's slow, if she's not dead by my Bastion or my
This
Sojourn, I can grab her and
yeah, this is okay. Yeah, I'm thinking this is okay. It's more kind of nuanced. I guess what I'm trying to get at, yeah. So first off, if you choose the right corner, it allows to divert the attention. But the most important to me is you need to be able to preserve your resources. So what I want you to try to do is try to choose corners you play around and lean towards those, because right now my problem is, and this is what happened sometimes even in the first point, yeah, we use the cover, but there's still big polish thing you need to do, because on the Hog is going to be so important, because we don't have the shield opportunity. Well, we have healing, but there's not too much shielding we can do, right? I really want you to think about what is that cover we lean towards and use that as much as possible. And the way it's going to be looking like is this. So for example, if I get on a training range, when you're trying to approach something, you choose that corner, and typically you also place your trap around the corner too. You're kind of maybe thinking, well, what if I maybe use this corner as my cover, I place the trap around the corner typically, and then you try to hook somebody in. Oh, I messed it up a little, but yeah, you can technically also place
yeah.
somebody in here, for example. But see, the way you're doing that is by minimizing your hitbox, and this is what's called peak shooting. So I don't want you to be doing that where you kind of stay this way. I want you to be doing more of that. So you peek out and shoot, peek out and shoot. So because your fire is also like pretty slow, you see there's a lot of downtime you have, right? And I'm staying out in the open between the shots. I want you to try to be as hidden as possible, and that's why I'm doing this. Yeah, shooting, peeking out, shooting, peeking out. Yeah, and the biggest thing is definitely hook. Yeah, hook opportunity. I peek out. Oh, sorry, I missed that. But yeah, it's just not out of the range too. But anyway, I'm peeking out and shooting. Yeah, I don't know any piece of cover I'm using. Peeking out and shoot. Yeah, and then make sure the target is targeted in. What it does? Well, again, minimize your hitbox. But the second, you also going to be more unpredictable for the enemy team. Yeah, it's just they not seeing you this way and being more sneaky, and this way it allows you to get easy hooks in a way. Yeah, it's much easier for you to, or like, because the enemy is not aware of you as much. Yeah, instead of me kind of playing here and constantly shooting this way, yeah, I can always try to pick out and shoot and secure or some of my hitbox, but also I can a lot of times open up with some of my abilities and make sure I hook something out of the corner. Yeah, obviously make sure mechanically it's looking okay. Yeah, like I'm picking out, shooting, yeah, then going back to the corner. This is really, really important. I cannot stress enough. On the Hog or any non-shield tanks like Malga, corners is gonna be so crucial. Even though you have this healing like Divomatics in a way, yeah, you can preserve your HP, but maybe try this out. So this is gonna be called peak shooting. Okay, does this make sense, peak shooting, or any
Yes.
questions? Okay,
It
okay.
makes sense.
Yeah, so try.
I also think that like taking off angles on Roadhog, like
Yeah, this
I
is good.
used when Overwatch 1 was, 6v6 and it was, two tanks playing, I used to play Roadhog as an off tank. But I used to take off angles a lot, but it's harder to. I mean, I would say it's harder, but it's when especially like now when it's currently when I'm having to worry about my team and I'm making sure that I'm not trying to let them die by taking an off angle. Sometimes I feel like I can open them up to more like deadlier positions, and I feel like that's also not that's not necessarily like um I wouldn't say it's not like a problem on my end, but I think it comes with like the rank, like the higher in skill level people will get, the easier it'll be to be able for the tank to take a walk and get an off angle every once in a while, or for the team to follow the tank somewhere over there.
I see. I see. So do you find that at SSR you find yourself more playing on the main because you play Hog at this rank, or yeah, what
Yes.
yeah, I see. Okay, what I will, and this is something we'll talk about more, but what I want to say is you in reality can play the same off-angle Hog, but the way it works is because you have stronger defensive capabilities now with the high HP, and like the way all of this works with the first of all, you get self-heal after a certain amount of time because of the passives. You also have the healing opportunity when walking. You can exist more on the angle, and what it does is it diverts the attention. I'm just gonna give you an example. Winston a lot of times control space to get in the backline, yeah, but how they do that, they get a setup to fight the backline first. But a lot of times it's about the patience, yeah. You actually
Mhm.
need for your Winston to just be waiting for the right opportunity, and because this is happening, you create that sort of passive power. Yeah, I'm just gonna talk, for example, here. When you've been approaching this point, for example, I'll just go back to this. Yeah, so for example, I'm trying to just control a lot of this space. A lot of people would think, and this is the same, but this is a common thing. I would hear maybe Reinhardt players. They would tell me, well, I cannot off angle because my team is gonna die. I gotta shield them, right? But in reality, what happens if you stick to them is first off, you not diverting the attention, so it's easier for everybody to keep the crosshair. Yeah, even mechanical perspective. I'm shooting you while you're out behind the cover. I'm shooting those guys. Yeah, it's just the same lane, the same angle, so it's really easy. And the other thing is, a lot of times you're trying to save your teammates, kind of by being this big body shield in your yeah, in your case, you're kind of trying to body block, protect, is not gonna work because this still will take an additional angle, especially in this 5v5 format. The angles are more frequent compared to Overwatch 1, so they will realistically still get an angle to pressure the team around. So what I would emphasize, try to do your own stuff, what you're good at, and divert the enemy attention this way. Your team dies, but you see, your main problem is, your main thing is not to not make your team not to die, but think about how to effectively control space. Yeah, like we thinking about how to win rather than how to stop the enemy from winning, if that makes sense. So like how to preserve
Mhm.
my teammates' life, because you do your own job. This is how you peel for your team most of the time. To be honest, uh, this is the usual advice I also give for any dark characters too. You play diva, you don't sit with your team and matrix them, you go and do your own stuff. So they been so just they're gonna be so crazy, like so that you're on those angles, so they'll chase you, and because this is happening, you give your teammates more space because of it.
Yeah, because a lot of times when I'm playing with Gecko, whenever he gets in a situation where either I'm dead or if I'm stuck in a corner because for some reason like Arisa pushed me in a corner and I can't you know be around my team, he's like, oh well, I just died because our tank isn't helping, and I'm like, I'm stuck in a position where I can't help, and
And so
it's a situation where if I take an off angle, he's like, oh, I'm dying because our tank's on an off angle.
yeah, that's where I also would say this. You want to be careful with the group of people you're playing with. I'm fine with, well, playing with friends and such is good. However, a lot of the times people, students, and my experience, they had that problem where they stick to certain group of people, but because it's not supporting the way you're trying to play and the way what you're trying to work on, yeah, and that's why they kind of pull you back sometimes. Yeah, they're not giving you the opportunity to also explore, make mistakes. So I would be careful with that because, generally speaking, you want to also find supporting group of players. If those players are fine with you playing this way, that's good. If not, I would be careful, yeah, because there's gonna be big influence. I'm gonna be honest. With students I worked with, if they remain to work with the same players, just play with the same players, where they give you non well, kind of more judgment or critical feedback on what you're trying to achieve in terms of, well, they're telling you, oh, this is really bad. It's usually going to be really slow progress. That's what I noticed. But you can always decide. You can maybe have the sessions with them playing or the other characters. Maybe your second account, or maybe main account, you can grind with someone else. Or you can even solo queue, which I would highly suggest usually. If you're just looking for just improvement standpoint, you want to improve the fastest way, I always recommend, if you're able to play solo queue or duo queue, can also be okay. That's one of the best, but it's your choice at the end. Yeah, just saying how it happens usually. Yeah,
Yeah.
and yeah, so definitely something what can influence. You learn some progress too. I gotta keep that in mind. But see, yeah, now cover. We talked about that peak shooting, much more of that if possible, and definitely treating like your character. See, for example, here all that poke we got, and we already we don't have enemy team to even extend the pressure. By the way, this here, the Farah, yeah, if you think about this, how we could maybe secure her life, it's just not by exactly holding with them. Yeah, you see, like, this is what will happen to your team. They will die, just like that. But what I can do to make higher quality pressure, to make sure the attention diverted to me that much, so this Farah will maybe stay alive longer, or maybe my Larry stays alive longer. Stuff like that, so... See, like, I'm definitely would agree. You play inside this, you go here. Honestly, even use the right side is okay. Any of those angles, I would like you to do more. You,
Or
yeah,
even the fountain. Like even the fountain could have been used too.
yeah, in a way,
But
yeah. If we're talking about off angles, then left side or right side is better. But yeah, we'll get to that later on too. But yeah, I would definitely suggest off angles is one of the best for now. Cover timing is really great. Yeah, peak shoot, time is your team. Peak shoot, time is your team. You know what I'm thinking? I know we just went over timing cover. I just want to make sure you're also able to implement some of that. What do you think if you do one game and try to implement the timing a little bit more and just look around where your team is fighting, maybe try to play? Or do you want us to c- just continue with the review? I would suggest if you can jump in the game, that would be great. If not, what do you think?
I can get on.
That would be perfect. Yeah, we can do that. Just timing wise and corners. Yeah, peek shoot all the time. But see where your team is at and peek shoot around the corner and down the pressure with them. That's it. And later on, we can also discuss the other stuff too, if we have time. All right, just make sure you screen share. I'll watch you. Okay.
Yeah. Let me
Okay, perfect.
let me move some stuff on my desk real quick.
Mhm.
I've been playing a lot more on my Xbox, so
That's okay. That's
I
okay.
have a mess on my desk because I use my controller.
Yeah, all good. Take your time.
That's another thing because I mean, as well as our sessions, I do also watch like some YouTube videos trying to work on it on my own as well. And something I've heard a lot of people say is like people with not enough, desk room for their mouse or something like that
Oh
is
yeah.
something people commonly see as well.
Yeah, this is true. But also depends on the type of your aim. Do you aim with your wrist or the hand?
Um, I would say my wrist.
Wrist. Okay, so generally speaking, for wrist, you need your less of mouse pad. Let's put it this way, because I personally also have the wrist aim. I know I just don't have as much workspace, but at the same time, just understand if you're able to do C60s comfortably, go from A to B, from left to right with your mouse pad. If you're doing C60s comfortably, then you should be alright most of the time with the wrist aim too.
Can you see a stream?
Yeah, I see it. It's working.
You want me to go into the fire range or an actual game?
If you can do comp, that's good. If you're not warmed up, then we can do quick play. I think up to you.
Pretty much that comp game.
Yeah, comp is okay. Yeah, and with those games,
didn't
really
normal.
will not pay attention to winning or losing or anything. It just all comes down to, are you able to get better at the concepts? If you do, then eventually you'll be climbing. That's all about that, to be honest. Step by step climb. So from here, I'm just gonna see, okay, peak shooting. Even at that much, I wanted to try this out, yeah? Peak shooting, left, right, and peek around the corner. Yeah, exactly. It also might always be the first games that will be harder, I think, because it's new stuff. But the more you play, the easier it's gonna be, to be honest. And just because we need to
Yeah,
preserve the... Yeah,
I think practice just it'll make it easier.
yeah, exactly. I like the patience there on the hook. Nice. Right, great. And a lot of people, they don't ban
And
Hawk either, so you should be alright.
yeah, usually my bans I try to do Ana. I mean, everyone generally bans Sombra, but I try to do Ana and Moira.
Ana,
But since I
Ana.
have a Moira player,
Yes,
I won't be trying to ban Moira.
Ana is
Let's
100% good.
see. Zarya, Doomfist. I'm okay with. I think Zarya's not a bad ban, but I don't know if I want it as my second. Um, but my team isn't really going for anything else, so I doubt I'm gonna get anything else out of this. But I'll
Zara is
also throw.
alright, because to be honest with you, Zara is kind of one of the soft, well, not soft, but meat counters in terms of just countering your hook because of the bubbles. It's more frequent compared to your hook. So really good Zara that can always bubble the target and you're not getting as much value. So to be honest, it's okay ban.
Yeah, we didn't get Ana ban.
Did get Ana, but yeah. Then this is where playing corner is going to be extremely important too. If you're just able to play around the cover, even though you're getting slap grenaded, you will be alright, I think. But just
We're on Rialto, so I can play the first like part of this pretty nice going into this because of that ledge.
Yeah. Okay.
But I also do, like I said, I do try to ban Ana and Moira just because Ana, anti-nade sleeps, while Moira allows me to get rid of someone who can easily escape my hook if they're full health.
Makes sense.
Because most times if I grab a Moira and she doesn't die from the headshot, she's gone before I can melee her with the fade.
Makes sense. That's alright.
And Moiras usually just cause general disturbance.
That's okay. I would definitely say the higher you go, probably less likely there will be bans somewhere because it's just not as high skill ceiling character. You usually might expect some others. Just depending on the map, depending on the comp, maybe someone else you wanna ban could get even more value, but I think, yeah. Just Ana is the first ban 100%. I wouldn't second guess. Yeah, let's see. Peak shoot, and I want you to just contribute to locations where most of your team is active non-stop. Yeah, you can hook them off the map, probably. Maybe you can try this out. If you're able to do peak shoot properly, I think might be possible. Yeah.
Is that Freya?
That's a good attempt. Because they're taking an angle here, why not? Okay, peak shoot and try this. Always choose the corner. You can go to the next corner, but choose that one and peak shoot. Yeah, so they're not also able to hook you that easily. Okay. Right. Looking good. Yeah, good peak shooting so far. Nice. Good stuff. Remember they're hooked as well, so you can keep peak shooting. Good hook. Good job. Alright, find another one. Maybe you can peek shoot. Maybe even try to get their hog just towards your team. Anything, really. Now, Widow is kind of getting a lot of value there too, but you cannot get to them yet. It's okay.
Yeah.
That's alright. That's alright.
I was thinking about using my ult to get away, but when I saw the Freya, I decided it wasn't worth it because I wouldn't have survived anyways.
That's alright. That's alright. You know, what I want you to try to do, if possible, can you try to find value with side angles more? So instead of us kind of playing the main point, choke point, try to go on the sides and force things to happen so that divert attention towards you. So for example here, this is a nice off angle, right? You can try to do the hook from here, but then always go back if needed towards the team sidelines. Yeah, like that, exactly. Yeah, that was fine. And see what you do with this? You kind of make it easy for your team to pursue. The team is dead to widow like 2 of the people, but it's fine. Just keep trying to do peek shoot and time the pressure with them. It's alright, it's alright. We have one more fight. It's okay, slightly challenging time too, because they have the widow and Freya.
We have a Widow and a Hanzo over
Yeah.
here.
That's okay, that's
Just
okay.
gonna cause that.
We do the same stuff. That's okay. We just keep practicing doing peek shoot and make sure you are contributing to your teams. Alright, check that. Nice.
Oh, gosh.
That's okay. That's okay. You guys can still turn that around, actually. Have a lot of ultimates there. Let's see. If you get back. Oh, well, maybe not now, but that's alright. You have the last fight now.
But I can't push onto this so long.
Yeah, that's okay. Later. You have more seconds. You still can try to pick shoot around the cover, maybe hook something, but yeah, see if there's an option.
Okay.
They got a pick anyway before, so. Good off angle, by the way. Good off angle option. If you can do that more later on, that's great.
I think we pulled this back.
Yep. We should be okay.
He's trying us to get me away.
Yeah, that's true. Nice, good job. Got him. You can maybe try to get another pick. Try to pick shoot, maybe get somebody. Yeah, that's alright. That's good. Okay, what I want you to try to do going forward, try to take an angle away from objective. Just be somewhere else on the sides of the map. Literally, like don't play front with the rest of the enemy. Like try to do off angles, flank, and time the pressure with your team. I want you to check if your team is around, and then pressure from your angle. That's it. Yeah, like that was good enough. Just missed the hook, but it was a good decision, I think. Maybe we can push them off the map. Not sure. Yeah, okay, left grip. Yeah.
Now I'm way out of position.
Okay, get the off angle and time the pressure with your team. Yeah, like this can work, I think. Just be careful with the HP. Nice peek shooting, by the way. Yeah, that's how we do it. Yeah, good. You see, you make them peek and make a mistake. Go this way too. That's great. Alright, good job. Nice body block. Yeah, it was good body block. Unfortunately, there's Juno ultimates. So.
No team to capitalize off it either.
That's alright. You cannot get him right away, but it's okay. That was good mechanically executed. That's no problem. It's Juno ultimate. You wanna try to heal or like escape a little bit faster, but that's alright. Okay, we do the same. We take an off angle and time the pressure with the rest of your team. Let's see what's the option there. The team's kind of running forward. Maybe there's an option to go upstairs. Yeah, maybe. It's okay. It's okay. Yeah. You need to reset side, but you get a pick, which is good. So you need to reset. Wait for the rest of the team come back, which they will. You have enough time, 30 seconds, and time the pressure from the off angle. Don't fall back to main. Yep. Maybe try to set up your trap. See what the option is there for you as well. Right, keeping the off-angle option really great. Yeah, this right side. Ooh, that hook though. That was well executed, I guess. Yeah. Yeah, keep the off-angle option if possible. Left to right. Yeah, like left to right. Choose the positions away from objective. Don't stay on objective. Yeah, this is much better. You see, the amount of sweat you're causing from the angle is so much higher. And you force them to make a move. Yeah. Not playing main. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Right, the same stuff. Off angle and time. The pressure. Yeah, this is good. You can maybe run through here. Yeah, maybe. Try time the pressure. Check your team. Yeah. Make sure once you pressure, your team is able to do stuff. Right. Good stuff. Yeah, that's good enough. You can kill him, but you force the resources. That's good. Can look for the second time. See the next angle option for you. What's a good off angle here? What do you think?
Genji jumps into my trap.
Yeah, well, happens. It's a good off angle, by the way. Make sure you keep it. See, you don't want to run to the main ideally, yeah? Because you have the healing, kind of allows you to stay there if possible. Maybe you have time to retouch. Let's see. That's alright.
I don't know if we do have time to get back.
It's okay. You push pretty far, to be honest. But see, that's how you do it. You kind of sit on the angle and create the value and time the pressure with the rest of your team. That's it. And usually don't go towards the main sides because that's where the most of the damage happens. You just want to divert the damage to you so your team can live on the main. You let somebody else to push the card typically because of the amount of sweat you're creating from the angle. Sometimes you can push the card, but most of the time you don't. And most of the time you go to the sides. Usually, the characters with high mobility can push the card, or like long range capabilities, more stationary with less burst.
Yeah, especially when we had a Widowmaker and a Hanzo at the start, and I think when Ash and something else.
Yeah, you know what happened there is because you're not taking angle, everybody's stacked, and including themselves, they're all stuck on the same lane, and the enemy's hiding left and right, so nobody's getting killed. Basically, and because that's why enemy widow got so many picks too. It's not your team is bad. Yeah, you can't protect your team by staying in the main either. Yeah, and it's just they can shoot you and they can also shoot the rest of your DPS. But if you go on the angle, you're making that widow worry about you, so she look at you, and now your DPS can do stuff. You can even try to just catch the widow by going on the angle. To be honest. Just make sure you kind of stay there for as long as possible too. Make sure your resources allowing you to. And yeah, it will be okay. Just angle, time the pressure, angle and time the pressure. I really like this as a start. You can see if it works. You just might be, you need more patience. Okay. Oh, they see you. Alright, that's okay, that's okay. Yeah, good dodge.
That trap didn't go over it.
You can maybe hook them off now. Not sure. But okay.
She walked around the payload.
That's okay. You can reset, maybe get another angle later on. But I see, you force them to peek just like that, and they're almost dead. Because you play corners. And that's good. Maybe hook them off now if possible. Oh, okay. Oh. Okay. Boss failed, what happens? Yeah. That's alright. That's been a good hold. That's okay. You'll have more fights. No. That was good direction though. If you push that a little bit more and just be more patient at the start, I think you get great value there right away. Just so much ult charge too. Okay, angle.
I also think my teammates either fell apart a little too fast or they didn't push far enough. They backed up too far.
That's okay. Yeah, they're kind of died to Widow. That's fine though. Angle, time the pressure. We just keep attention.
Oh, that health pack is not there.
Attention on our stuff. Alright, this guy can die. Really close. Right. When the point is gonna be, yeah, like if when the point is really close, then you can contest it.
Oh, that's rough.
That's okay. You guys will need to reset from going from here, most likely.
Yeah.
Just remember, they win 2 fights in a row. Most likely they will have another ultimate again. So maybe you will lose another fight. But if you have your own ultimate, you can make them stop to make.
Coming up on a Nano and a
Yeah.
Death Blossom.
Yeah, exactly. You can, by the way, hook someone off the map here too. There's a spot on the bridge. You can actually turn the people off the bridge too. Push them off. I mean. Hmm. Yeah, like this.
Oh,
You just have to. Yeah, you have to do it like slightly later turn and the lamppost. Okay.
you can push me away.
That's good. I like your attention being in the back line. As long as you have good angle, you should be okay. Just so keep the angles option if possible. You see, you can even just literally be in there, spawn on the bridge, or you can, I don't know, just to find the area on the bridge on your side. That's close. That's fine.
And I'm locked over here.
That's alright. That's alright. We're done a lot because now it's time to reset anyway. Now just do the same. Get on the angle, time the pressure. You have your ultimate, so find a way to also.
And my
use
team
that.
is still just getting smashed by that Widow.
No worries, no worries. You can control them, right? We focus on what's under our control, so it's not. We cannot make them play better. So.
We don't see why we're doing reroll when Roadhog is still alive. That was a not very good idea on his part. Because now I'm kind of stuck. Yeah.
You need to reset one more time and find the early value with the ultimate if possible to turn the fight around. Our ultimate's kind of sitting there a little bit too long. Just make sure as soon as there's opportunity, kind of even open up, it's good enough. You can try to contest, maybe see, okay, maybe you can sneak an additional value into the hook. Yeah, angle is good. Nice, good angle. Yes, and from here, look for the value with ultimate, if needed. Yeah. That's alright. It's good enough, I think. Why not? Just open it up even.
Oh.
That's okay, that's okay. And just push it a little bit too far. But it was fine to like get some space going, I think. It's just you guys need to resustain there and stop the momentum. So
Yeah,
momentum.
I'm pushing up and my teammates are standing on the payload even though there's no one to
exactly.
push the payload
exactly.
on their team.
Exactly. That's why we kind of look around to check, yeah, for your team constantly, yeah? Because we need to make sure we time the pressure on them.
There.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Make sure you see where your team is pressuring, and you pressure on that area too. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, set up and check where your team is again.
Oh.
So you pressure on them. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this seems like the pressure in the choke. Mm-hmm. Gotta reset a little bit, be careful. Just playing slow. So that's good thinking. Yeah, your team needs to get back in the fight, so we kind of take a little bit more time. Alright, check with your team as well later on. Yeah, make sure they are able to pressure around you. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. And we can look for the hook there too. Okay, and again set up. And make sure pressure on your team. Nice, good stuff. Okay, what's your off-angle setup? You're not on off-angle now, right? Off-angle, pressure around where your team is pressuring.
Oh,
That's alright,
no,
that's alright.
I got baited into it.
You guys still can turn this around, to be honest. You just get back in the fight, can push them off the point. You have an advantage in numbers now. Yeah, you have numbers advantage going still. Their tank will come back, so make
Roadhog
sure.
just used his ult.
Yeah. You can push them off later on too.
He just died.
All right. Right, fine. Yeah, to be honest, as long as you're just able to consistently keep in mind what are you doing in the current moment, and it's all understandable that your teammates, you cannot control them, right? But you can always analyze, see what's going on, and depending on the visuals, you can always act. Yeah, for instance, my team is not pushing up. Yeah, what do? Well, consistently scout, check where most of my teammates are, so you consistently put the pressure in that area. Or maybe somebody's not doing great, well, it happens. You can control that, right? So we just pay attention to our play no matter what, because there's always something we can get bad at. Long term, I would say it's gonna be good. The more play, the easier it's gonna be. I know it's also stressful. There are a lot of ideas to kind of also just wrapped around a little, but right, not too many, but it's mostly timing and angle, right? But still, that's something to keep in mind. Okay, I would just maybe summarize. Yeah, how do you like the live game, by the way? What do you feel like? Is it?
I think that game was actually pretty good. I think I played a lot better, especially taking the off angle, and
Yeah.
I think it was a lot easier to um. I think it was a lot easier to play against another Roadhog that's trying to play in the middle lane when I'm playing an
Yes.
off angle.
Yeah. See, exactly, this is what it does. You go on your off angle, do your own stuff, so they are trying to counter you, and suddenly what happens is they don't know what to do with their own play. Yeah, they're trying to counter you, but they don't not solving their own win condition. You're more in control. You're forcing them to do something. You're telling, okay, I'm going there, so they will focus
And
you. Yeah, nice.
even with the Widow on their team that was just annihilating my team, like I was still the big problem for them, and most times the only way they solved that problem was pushing me off the map.
Yeah, exactly. And you will a lot of times notice as well if you actually able to also solve small parts of that too, like maybe more mechanical, like us getting more hooks, or maybe just playing around their abilities. It's gonna be even greater, to be honest. We just need to push that, polish that a little bit more later on. It should be okay. But for
Mhm.
now, this is the first point you can start working on. You have to kind of summarize. So what's been for us so far? Off angle, you kind of mentioned it now. Just make sure you being there. It's positions away from your core. Yeah, let's phrase it this way. Stay away from objective. Yeah, make sure take positions away from your core. Yeah, I don't want to be stuck in the same position the rest of my core. I want to go somewhere else usually. Yeah, of course, there are going to be cases where you play main, but most of the time you don't, I think, as a hog because of your sweat potential with the hook. So, yeah, it's that, and what else? What else we talked about? What else you need to keep in mind so far?
Peak shooting.
Peak shooting, yeah, it's just how you use cover. And what about the first, most important part as well? Why we sometimes getting a little bit too much pressure on ourselves? Yeah, like why we.
Yeah, so timing pressure with my teammates as well.
Yeah.
And I think as well as that, as I caught myself doing it a couple times, and I think a couple times it led to me dying. But even though I'm on an off angle, I still need to consider overextending. So being behind the enemy team when my team's already dead.
Yeah, exactly. So what I want you to try to do later on more is scout where just constantly where most of your team is before the fight, just before you approach anything, like before your engagement. Um, and yeah, then act depending on that. So it's gonna be
And
even better. Hmm.
I think trying to take better off angles, like I mean, I'm already working on off angles, but as well into that, trying to scout bet off angles that allow me to have a good sight line for my team so that I can, get heals or if I'm overextending, if I have a life weaver, a life grip,
Yeah,
but as well as having advantageous position. Like when I walked up the stairs and they can't see me, but I was able to hook and kill their Widowmaker.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. I agree. Okay, yeah, I think for the most part that's it for today. I think mechanics are fine. Of course, there's some things to improve on. Later on, we'll talk about that. Yeah, landing more abilities, but yeah, I think it's fine. I like the general, like the abilities the way you use that, let's say the trap there together with the hook, it's okay. Like there's definitely good thought process around that too, so that's great to see. And I think later on maybe just working on something like your positioning a little bit more, just how to maintain angles a little bit more, how to stay there longer, is going to be great help. And yeah, maybe more mechanical things too, stuff like that for the most part, to be honest.